All right, ladies and gents, welcome. This is a huge series here in TTL Silver, and I'm really excited for it. Just to repeat a couple things that I just said, Biry, who's here in the blue, really surprised me in the previous edition Silver, and I believe he was maybe one series away from potentially even qualifying for gold. And the reason for that is when you think of Biry, you think of the Mongols, and you think of the Poles and the Gurjaras, Civs, Celts even, like the Civs that he would use the same strategy over and over and over again with on ranked games. But he proved in the previous edition Silver that he's very well prepared and took it very seriously. And so, you know, he's a real force here. And I also, there's so many players from Argentina that are within TTL Silver that I know they're all practicing together and playing lots of games. And we've actually seen that with results from other Argentinians, which I could maybe touch on later. Anyways, so Lithuanians for Biry here. And the map is Ghost Lake to start off our series. And players are going to be looking for sheep in the middle. And Lithuanians is a little bit surprising, honestly. Mayans is not for Ozone. And to talk a little bit about Ozone, Ozone is... He's a player who I think I'd said it at some points with some bias that he felt like he was like the most improved player of this year, the previous year. I forget. I know those words came out of my mouth at one point, but the guy's like hit 2K4 on the ladder. He's incredibly good with meta plays, and like a lot of players who play a lot of Arabia, but they're suited towards meta. What's going to be the differentiator is going to be, can this guy who's reached top 50, reach top 60 on the ladder, be diverse in strategy? And Ozone's one of my practice partners, and I played a lot of games with him, and he's been taken very seriously. So I can tell you he's diverse in strategy, all right? So it will be very interesting here. So again, Mayans versus Lithuanians. Thus far, it does seem like the run to the middle for Biry was a little more fruitful with the sheep. He found a couple, and he was able to loop them home, and he still got 4 sheep at home. So I think that combined with starting with plus 100 food will be very nice for him. Map here is Ghost Lake. The main gold is always bordering the ice on Ghost Lake, which makes you feel kind of exposed. But otherwise, you've got wood lines to wall between. And there's usually a back resource, right? So like in this case, you might not want to take this gold, but if you wall a bit, you can take the other golds. Especially a full wall here would be amazing for Ozone. But Mayans are going to be on the defensive here because Lithuanians can be so aggressive, so he may not feel comfortable leaving his villager exposed like that. Macho says Biry gets clapped on the sticks like his playstyle, though. I'm not really sure what those words mean put together. But go look at TTL Silver and look at some of those results that he had. The guy is taking this very, very seriously. We were all well aware that like which players are practicing and which players were not practicing. And this is a series I'm not going to be able to cast. So I think I should probably just discuss it here. Another Argentinian, Monos. Monos went up against Kasva. It's actually in the same group as well, which is really interesting. So this was yesterday. And I watched through as many games as I could. And, dude, Mono's clearly prepared, right? I wouldn't surprise me if Monos and Biry played like 20-plus games. At Kasva, who's the favorite in this whole group, Kasva clearly did not prepare. Clearly played a lot of ranked Arabia games. In the end, Kasva won that series 3-2, though. Again, I'm going to be scrambling. We have 11 best-of-5 deciders that are happening over the next, like, 4 or 5 days. So I've got to cast this. I've got to cast after that. For anyone who's like, damn it, T90, you should have casted it. I'm sorry for hosting this event with so many games that it is physically impossible for me to cover all of them. And it is actually physically impossible for me to do that, but I also am quite busy at the moment with adminning and planning towards a big old trip to Australia. So lots of stuff going on. Okay. Oh, sticks equals controller? Got it. Well, I know Biry did switch the controller for a bit to see how he would do, and he was number 1 on controller. But everyone who's been number 1 on... Well, not everyone who's been number 1 on controller. But there's 3 instances of players who played on controllers being number 1 where they were just 2K plus players on keyboard and mouse who switched over to try it for a bit. So, yeah. Okay, so Biry. He's going to go scouts. And it looks as though we're going to have a militia coming forward here for Ozone. So this could be man-at-arms. We'll see. I think Biry might have just spotted that eagle. He must have, because the eagle went here. And he knows he's about to be feudal, and he will kill that thing if he's in feudal. The only thing you can really do here if you're Ozone is you just fight it. Because if you try and run, you're going to die anyways, because the scout's faster. So you have to weaken the scout as much as possible. Sucks, but you're going to lose your eagle in exchange for a lot of HP at least. So that's nice. Biry lost in finals last tournament to controller player. Oh, really? Interesting. I didn't actually know there was a tournament. Was it a player that I would know that he lost to? Thanks for that info. I didn't know there was a tourney. I know there have been tourneys, but it's not something I've really followed. Archer range now for Ozone. This is man-at-arms into archers. And Biry doesn't have scouting on where his opponent is right now. So he was just playing incredibly greedy here. And as you can tell, he's going to be slightly punished here. But if you don't have the eagle, it's going to be much harder to get kills here. You've got to use one of your infantry units that's much slower than the eagle in front. And it's just simply too difficult. But Ozone will like the amount of control he's gained thus far. Like, this is good. You delay the walls. Normally, he's going to buy time for an archer and a spear. And he looks like he had queued up an eagle, so things will be a little bit delayed there. That could actually really hurt. I feel like, you know, Ozone, he's kind of torn at the moment on how he wants to play this. I get it, too, because if you run forward, it might be 3 scouts soon, and they could maybe kill the man-at-arms. He has to actually back away. Because he doesn't want this spearman, and he doesn't want the archers to be killed here either. So, I think Hardy will have edited it in at the start of this cast. But ELO-wise, we're looking at like 2,300 or 2,200, depending on the day for Biry. And 2,300 or 2,400 for Ozone. And winner here will face #1 seed Kasva. Again, based on the result that Kasva was able to achieve yesterday. Okay, also, I think my recording's completely fine, but my stream is dropping. So this is going to be awkward. YouTube, bear with me. Are we back? We'll keep going here. Viewers, let me know if I'm back here, all right? I think everything should be fine. Something happened there. I think we'll be back in business. So Biry has played with scouts. And now he's going to go into skirms. And it's a very natural transition for him here. It has been a very tentative start to this for Biry. Very defensive opening for him. But it's Ghost Lake, and you would expect that from pretty much anyone. A couple skirms will come out. Now, the man-at-arms are going to hold their own against those skirms. But what I'm a little surprised by is that Biry's not trying to use his scouts to pick off any villagers here. But it does look like Ozone's got his base covered, though. He's got a spearman waiting here. He's got a spearman waiting here. He'll wall this. He'll wall this. And, I mean, that archer range is almost halfway down already. So if Ozone comes forward with the archers now, he's got some real opportunities. Okay, sorry about any issues. And apologies if later on in the video there's any issues. But I think the video would have been fine. It was weird. Might have just been an OBS bug or something. But yeah, we're back in business. So food count's insane for Biry here, right? He had the extra sheep. He has this many farms, and he also still has been taking sheep. He's had his berries, of course. Was temporarily moved off of them. Gold on the back's completely fine, and Ozone, he's ready to go here. This is a really awkward force to trade against unless you have more skirmishers. But you've got walls if you're Biry. And so, you know, I don't think he needs to be in that big of a rush to make skirms. You might just want to save towards Castle Age. The way I would describe Ozone when it comes to his archer play is he's very controlled and has a bit of smothering pressure to it. Like, this is common stuff, right? Like, maintaining infantry control so he can bust down your base and he's forcing you into reactions. But in this particular situation, if he doesn't do damage, Biry could be Castle Age faster, and then we'll see what happens from there. Yeah, Sam, it's all good, dude. It's all good. But yeah, I can tell Ozone's a little torn. He saw the skirms have fletching now, so now he doesn't really know what to do. And Biry has the faster skirm, so we could maybe move out and chase this down eventually. Okay, so main gold is the option for Ozone. Archer mass is going to be key. He's got 8 archers right now. So you could try and apply some pressure, of course. But keeping those archers alive is the most important thing. There's a world where you might... It might be the best play to actually just go home with those archers. But that doesn't really feel good in a competitive format. You want to constantly be able to use your army, but... Like right there, he loses an archer. Was he really going to get damage done here? I don't know. He obviously doesn't have as good as scouting either because he lost his scout earlier in this game. But yeah, Biry's got faster skirms, so Biry's able to run out. And because the skirms are so fast, you can catch up to the archers. But most importantly, you can run away from the man-at-arms much easier. And now that the skirms have armor, archers will only be doing 1 damage to them, so you need to get out of here. Which civ do you favor in the late game? In early Imperial Age, I favor the Mayans. If it goes past the point... Like if they've been an imp for 10 minutes, then I favor the Lithuanians. Having Hussar, having good skirms... I think that's really good against Mayans. But, I mean, Mayan trash is also really strong. It's kind of tricky, to be honest. But I think I would prefer the... Again, we're talking really late game. I think I would prefer the Lithuanians. Map control is going to matter. Gold control, right? There's gold on this side. There's gold on this side. All that stuff's going to be key here. And, well, before that, this gold and this gold for Biry is going to need to be an area that he locks down. I think he could realistically do that, though. It's an interesting choice here from Ozone. He's mixing in some eagles. And he's pushing back the skirmishers and forcing Biry to micro this. And meanwhile, his archers are just ready to kill. Dude, guys, so many players would just make the gate and have this be open beyond it, and then he would be screwed here. The fact that he built the gate behind the houses is kind of interesting. But kind of smart. Definitely don't want to be losing skirmishers if you're Biry, because you're probably going to have them as your main force. But skirms have been able to run away. What's the Castle Age Eagle? Castle Age Eagle 1.1, skirm is 1.06. Okay, so the Eagle's actually faster now. And we're going to see crossbow. We're going to see Bodcanero in for Ozone, and Ozone's going to take what is actually a pretty decent fight here. Yes, he loses archers. Well, actually, hold on a second. It's a bit interesting. He only has 7 archers. But I say it's decent because he will kill all the skirms. At the end of the day, it's probably pretty close, right? Because Biry also killed quite a few archers over the last couple minutes. Which skirms are considered better? If it's skirm v skirm, it's definitely Mayans. Actually, I think the Mayan skirms are superior. What's weird is there's no bonuses that you can take advantage of until late game. Or until you get your unique tech. So for now, the skirms are better for Lithuanians. But Mayan skirms are ridiculous after that halter tech. I know the unique tech gives you a bit of extra armor. I think that you get so much more utility having the extra bolt fire from your skirms. It's alright. So no elite skirm upgrade for Biry, which is what I was expecting. And it's game 1. It's an important series for both. Both probably understand how good their opponent is, but also feeling pretty confident towards themselves. I know both are probably locked and loaded and hyped for this series. This was played yesterday. Again, I don't want any spoilers, please. I've avoided Liquipedia and all that. We're casting this series as if it's live. Lithuanians will rely on getting relics for their knights. And relics are also great for the long term. There's a relic there. And there's a relic here, which is pretty good. Does Ozone see that his opponent has this many knights? I think he's going to be surprised by this. But he should know his opponent's going knights because he killed that many skirms. What's interesting is Ozone went for quite a few eagles. He went double barracks instead of double archer range because of the existence of those skirms earlier. And these knights could be really dangerous. Like, this army is not that strong against knights, and Biry knows it. And honestly, I think Ozone's really going to fall apart here. Even the crossbow mass isn't that significant. It's still only 11. So Ozone's got to back away now. And backing away is kind of a rough sign, right? Because then you can easily snag... Then the Lithuanian player, can easily snag the relics. So So we see the pikeman choice from Ozone. Now, something to remind you of, and I say this every time we encounter this situation, but knights don't counter pikes, excuse me. It's a situational thing. Don't want to bring up old drama. But a knight beats a pikeman in a 1v1. The big thing about the pikeman is that it doesn't cost gold. And then there's obviously some bonus damage involved. But you still need to have a mix of other units involved. And since knights are faster, it's a lot easier to control and decide when you take the fights. So as Ozone accidentally shoots the deer, pikeman numbers are going to matter more than anything here. Even more than upgrades. You see players skip out on, like, they'll normally get the first armor upgrade, but players would always prefer to have like 5 to 6 more pikemen versus getting another upgrade. Monk trying to get a relic there. Mayans get a knight. Hip hip hooray for that. But good work from Biry to kill a monk. In the end, though, that's pretty good for Ozone. He hasn't been attacked here. And he does have a slight economic lead, but I don't know how consistent that's going to be here. Because we've got 3 TCs for Biry, we only have 2 for Ozone. Ozone has kind of had an army mass problem. He wanted to go archers, and then got scared of that, rightly so. Now he's looking to go pikes, rightly so. But Biry's going to go for TC number 4 now. And, I mean, he's got +2 armor on his knights. He's got the first relic in. This probably should be brought in, but if Ozone can snag that, that'd be sick. That could be crucial here. Is he actually going to find this? Biry's going for it. I mean, Biry could always run over there. Still, if Ozone notices that and gets that home, that would be amazing. And we've got crossbowmen. We've got pikemen combined. Crossbowman number is massing. And there goes the monk with the relic, but Biry sees this. I don't think that Ozone's really going to be able to get that far away. And Ozone seems scared. He seems worried, and honestly, he should remain worried. Because Knight Scorpion is incredibly strong against what Ozone's currently making. What's up, Baskets? Should be a crazy series, dude. Welcome. Let's look at res collected in this game thus far. More for Ozone, which is wild. Resources do last longer for Mayans too, so you can stay in your base a bit longer. Another barracks for Ozone, so it's triple barracks pikemen. This was Aztecs, he'd have like 8 monks. And the monks would have tons of HP, and the monks could convert the siege too, right? Crazy how just, you know, civilizations which have similar strengths are so different. Because the Aztecs could rely on the monks, and the Mayans just don't feel comfortable making that many monks. We've pretty much only seen monks to get relics from Ozone here, and Ozone still going to push forward. Shout out to this man-at-arm. He's been active, man. And Ozone sees the Scorpions, and he just pushes through. And he uses the Knight he converted to kill a monk, and he's going to use that Knight now against the Scorpions. Holy crap. The Eagle almost killed that Scorpion as well. That was impressive. Even deletes that Knight there so he doesn't donate a Knight back. Okay, well, things got interesting here. 35 army for Ozone. And he's done such a good job not losing his crossbow mass, and obviously the pikemen are coming in full force at this point as well. Dang. So you could consider skirmishers against this, but it's so much faster and so much more efficient to just drop a siege workshop and make 3 units. Because you don't need elite skirm, which is hundreds of resources. You don't need to get bod canary. You don't need to get armor. You don't need the units. But what you actually need, as he's going up to Imp, which is just so freaking bold, dude. And so is Ozone. It's crazy. I'm just more of an army spammer, right? So I'd make more knights. Maybe there's a reason I'm not here in the 3rd round, but anyways, both players kind of just settled down here, and it is going to be knight numbers that Biry still focuses on. But if you're imping, I think you should consider skirms too. What's the relic count? It's at the bottom left. So 2-to-1 with relics. It'll be 3-to-1 if Biry sees this. I'm assuming he's going to. Yeah, he's going over to it now. Ozone didn't see that. And I don't think there's any easy way he gets to it anyways. University from Biry tells me he might consider hand cannons. I mean, continuing to make knights is awesome here. Ideally, you're able to combine some different things with those knights. That way you can deal with some of the strength that Ozone's going for. But Ozone, it's going to be Arbalest, and it's going to be Pikemen. And if that's going to be the case, look at, oh my God, look at this, guys. They're both placing outposts with one vill on the sides, but it's like every other. Look, yellow, blue, yellow, blue, yellow, blue, yellow. Ah, yellow. Ozone ruined it. Obviously, they don't know that the other person's doing that. Wait, over here. Blue. Oh, that's a mining camp. Anyways, really important stuff from players to get vision on these crucial areas, because there's 3 tiles of gold on the right and on the left, and that map control. And just knowing if your opponent's going to send army through that area is just crucial. Are there cases where players don't pick chemistry first in University at Imp? Absolutely. Games where you're not going for ranged units and games where you don't have bomber cannons. Usually you see it because you have ranged units involved or you have bomber cannons involved. And also at this stage, you have so much economy that you should be able to afford to go for, you know, like your main army while also combining it with chemistry. In this case, we don't have chemistry though for Biry, so he's just going straight knights. And actually, did you see that, guys? Look, the outpost shows the knights. That's actually such a huge find, and he also ran in with the eagle to check things. I think what he actually checked when he used the eagle there is he checked to see if the castle had Bodcanero. That's really good stuff from Ozone. A lot of players don't do this. Even like the top 20 are missing out on some of these details from time to time. They'll do it because consistency is everything, obviously, but because he doesn't see additional ranged upgrades on this castle, he knows it's going to be straight cav, and then obviously he sees the cav as well. And Biry is none the wiser. Like, he does not know that his opponent knows what he knows. But he does see the outpost, so I don't know. Maybe you should attack it. It feels weird attacking an outpost, though. You feel so uncomfortable. Because if you attack the outpost, you're attacking the building that gives them vision. So they know exactly what you're doing. So sometimes players just kind of try and avoid it in these moments. Okay, so I like the castle positions for Ozone, and I like the army count here, but he doesn't have siege to push this area. If he pushes this area successfully, it's game over, right? I feel like if this was any other map and there wasn't ice in the middle, he would have had a castle next to his army and he'd be adding trebs with it. But because you can't build on the ice, I think he is feeling more awkward about bringing trebs forward right now. I thought a second ago that Biry was going to go for Paladin, because his resources were really being saved up here. But I think he's decided Paladin's too risky. And it might be against straight Halb. And he's going to try and go for skirmishers now, it seems. Possibly hand cannons, but no, skirms. And upgrades are still flying in for those. Now, the Arbs do have Bracer. Chemistry's coming in as well. So all the units that we're seeing right now from Ozone are being upgraded. But the unfortunate thing for him is he doesn't have an easy way to push with these trebs if Biry has a bomber cannon prepared. And it's also kind of a trickle treb, right? He's shown up with 2 trebs, which I talk about a lot. So now you only have 1 treb. And now you feel like you need to go in for the bomber cannon, which is completely fine feeling. But it's looking kind of awkward. And it's giving Biry some time. Like, if Biry can snipe this treb, Biry could get more skirms out here. And that, I mean, bomber cannon's going to go down. But the treb goes down, which gives Biry more time. And that time's so crucial right now. There's 1 vill on that gold there. No villagers on this gold here. Massive army count for Ozone, but he just can't push these castles. And I think that, like, now you've reached a point where you almost need to back up his Mayans and go into Eagles, I think. It's really tricky here because until the skirm mass was there, you had a moment to push. And I think if he had 4 trebs there, this castle ends up going down, right? Because there wasn't enough bomber cannons. But now, you know your opponent's teching into ranged units, and skirms is great against Halbs, and skirms is great against Arbalest. I think you have to prep for the pivot to Eagles in some way. Look at his castles, though. Ozone's like, okay, this is bad. This could be really bad for me soon. Let's just fortify how we can, where we can. A nice job from Biry. Of course, the outpost here helped him with this, right? So he saw the villager on gold, killed the villager, and now we have some random barracks over here from him. From Ozone, rather, to keep Biry off that gold. Like, these are extremely safe castles. I'm not sure I like this castle. I think I would prefer the castle be here. instead of in the very back of your base. But this is a big aspect of Ghost Lake, is placing safe castles and placing the proper castles. We're going to have Paladin and Skirm. Holy crap, man. Okay, Ozone's coming forward with 3 trebs. This is... I know it's not a Tuesday, and I'm not being disrespectful because I can make this joke because I'm good friends with Ozone. This is exactly what happens in Lowy the Legends. They go forward with 2 trebs the first time. They're like, oh, that's not enough. Okay, we need 1 more. And then they're going to lose 3. And then they're like, okay, we need 4 next time. And then they're going to lose 4. I think the timing, realistically, needed to be a little bit earlier regardless, though. And the Skirms and the Paladins engage. These are Paladins that have extra attack because of the Relics. So it's 14 plus 5 attack. And while the Halbs do tons of bonus damage here against the Paladins, and the Paladins froze there, which could be really bad for Biry. Hold on a second. Trebs haven't been killed yet. Hold on a second. Still does feel like Biry's going to push this back. I was expecting Biry to pull a couple of his trebuchets, Paladins there, to kill the trebuchets. If he loses this castle, that could really hurt. But he does end up saving that castle. And he does lose a lot of Paladins at the same time. I wonder if here's the time for Biry, after taking that engagement, to just run over to this gold. Ozone's currently on this gold. Biry could see that. And it really feels like Biry's actually thinking about the middle more than anything, and Ozone's thinking about the sides. How do you counter Skirms right now? The Skirms should be incredible against the Plumes, which Ozone has switched to. He's on Elite Plumed Archer. And Elite Plumed Archer is a much better unit to have in the long run than Arbalest. But Skirms could be the biggest issue here. Just the other thing to think about, though, is that Paladins are really costly. So with Paladins being costly and there only being like 10 or so Paladins on the field right now, maybe Biry could have some problems. I actually love Ozone's awareness of these extra resources, guys. And I think Biry should be doing a better job in those areas. He's got the mobility, right? If he could deny this, that'd be sick. I think this castle should probably go up. And Biry may be thinking about a Bomber Cannon Treb push through the middle because the Skirms are so tough to stop right now. So we have Architecture for Ozone. So all of his buildings are stronger. The choice for him is Plumes. You know, if he went Eagles, he'd still be going Eagles against Paladins right now. Maybe you need to try and wait on Eagle until... I don't know. I think you somehow need Eagles. I think Ozone's going to get pushed back hard here. But yeah, I was just trying to think about it. Like, maybe you wait till your opponent's out of gold. But no, you can't wait till your opponent's out of gold and then magically have more gold than him to go Eagles of all things. Because Eagles are really costly on gold. I just think that in that moment in early Imp there was the crucial time. And Biry held very well with his Bombard Cannon. And, oh God! Bombard Cannon down. Ozone's got to consider if he can take an engagement. When you're fully popped, when you're 200 pop, you're more inclined to take a fight, even if it's going to be somewhat of a losing fight. Especially when you're being trebbed down like this. So let's see. Plumed Archers. We got 6. Oh, there's an Arbalest in there as well. There's 4 Arbalests. Interesting. Anyways, the Plumes take the engagement. The Halbs are on the front. We have El Dorado now for Ozone as he's starting to think about that Eagle switch. But he no longer has tons of gold income. That said, Biry's getting pushed back, and Biry might lose all of his trebs. And what is happening? It's so hard for these players to kill each other off. And the castle for Ozone's going to stay up as well. Dang. By the way, that was really close. I think if he didn't have architecture, he would have lost that castle. El Dorado with 1 eagle right now for Ozone. That is the guy. Okay? That guy's got 100 HP in there. But this is huge. You've got this gold income. That is where Biry is now directing his attention, though, with trebs. Biry will also send villagers here to take that gold. He did kill the vills that Ozone had there. So now it's Ozone's turn. This is back and forth. And it may continue like this. This is what I like about Ghost Lake. It's like, you know how when you're growing up, you'd agree with your friends not to raid each other because that's kind of lame, right? Ew, raiding economy. Ugh. No, you just both build up. You both make massive army and have big battles in the battle area. There's battle area and there's eco area. You do not take battle area units into the eco area, guys. What are you doing, Jeff? You know, like, That's kind of how a lot of people play the game. Obviously, that's not what has happened here. They've had to fight for positions and whatnot. But the fact that there is like an area where you can't build and you can't really fortify makes it interesting. Holy crap, Elite Latis right now? I mean, Paladin's one thing, but to also go Elite Latis is incredibly expensive. I don't know if Biry's going to have the gold for that. And look what Ozone's doing. He's going to lose this left side, but he's going to take back the right, or at least he's trying to. He's dropping a TC there, and he's dropping walls. And Biry's going to drop a castle. And then meanwhile, Ozone's trying to push the middle to take out this castle. Now, there's no gold here anymore. There used to be. But the armies are basically split up. Ozone's got everything he wants in the middle. He's not trickle-trebbing this time. He's gone 5. But, you know, he's lost the left side, and he's going to probably lose some stuff on the right side. What do you do in this situation if you're Ozone? You say, oh, well, that sucks. We push middle then. Fine. You want to take the gold from me? I send everything I can towards the middle. He's done a good job at that thus far. And Biry, you have to hope that gaining the sides, where he's going to need gold because currently he has 0 on gold. You kind of hope that having those sides funds the defense of this middle push. But honestly, guys, I'm preferring Ozone's position right now. The Halb Plume combination is really nice. And he's still got 3 trebs here to be able to push against this castle. At the same time, though, there's still not many eagles. And I think he's had skirms, but he has undermade skirms at times. Also, bomber cannon snipes a treb. There's only 1 treb remaining. And yet again, maybe Biry's able to stall here. And yet again, Ozone coming out to the left-hand side. I'm not sure what Ozone's going to be able to do about that, though. Trebuchet there is going to go down. Oh my god, he can't click it. Use the skirms. Oh god, what a costly fight for Biry. Finally, he takes the treb, though. Dang, this is... Okay, this is really interesting. They both have very little on gold. In terms of castle numbers, there's going to be 4 for Ozone. There's 4 for Biry. So we're officially arriving to that state, which someone had asked about earlier. Which civilization do you prefer in late game? Mayans or the Lithuanians? I wonder if we're going to see skirms from Ozone, though. Will he foresee the fact that this is going to be a game where he runs out of gold? Or will he just try and finish it before then? I could see that being his logic. It feels really weird adding skirms to match skirmishers, you know? If there was, like, archers or something, it would make sense. Or it would feel... It's not that it doesn't make sense, because I think it does make sense to prep for late game, but it would just feel a bit more natural. Alright, so any eagles that are in here are important. We have not seen, like, many Latis at all for Biry, by the way. He sunk a lot of resources into Elite Latis. And that Treb for Ozone stays alive somehow. How on earth has he done that? 90 army for him right now. But he's not mining gold. He's got the army mass. He needs to push. He needs to take gold. And I think the big thing in my mind for Biry is he's not reinforcing. He doesn't have as many units in queue consistently. You can see he has resources floating. These queues should be a bit greater, I think, if he's not at 200 pop. Very hard to do those things, obviously, though, when you're under tons of pressure. And that's precisely what Ozone continues to pile on him. And sure, you might only have 6 eagles in this group, but those are 6 eagles that could kill the skirmishers themselves. And then the Halbs are there to help. And Biry going for a raid, though, with Hussars. This is where having that line of castles is very nice. This is actually what Ozone was probably thinking about when he placed this castle 20 minutes ago. So Ozone's going to get gold again. And he is also going for Elite Skirm. We are 57 minutes into the first game in this series. Should be an amazing one here. Halbs from Ozone. Going to kill what's left of those vills. But there's only 200 gold remaining there. And I like not even trying to save the vills. Just hope that they take as much gold as possible. Even if the villagers die with gold in their hands, that's gold that Ozone isn't getting. So it's fine. Ozone keeps trying to send units out here, but this castle keeps killing those units. I think he's going to need a more significant push. And then here, he's trying to grind down another castle. But you can't afford to make many Eagles long term if you're Ozone, right? So I think Biry should still continue to try and rely on these skirms. He takes out a Treb with the Winged Hussars. He's got a Bombard Cannon here again. He's done this multiple times this game. He's going to take out another Trebuchet. Now, Ozone realizes he probably can't get away with this, so he just YOLO shots at that Bombard Cannon here. And doesn't get the kill because of the micro from Biry. There's also another cannon in the mix. And so the Treb's going to end up going down for Ozone. Crazy army numbers right now. Just ridiculous. I mean, it's one thing for the Mayans to have 90 army, but the fact that we're about to have 90 army from Biry as well is insane. He's gone skirms, he's gone hand cannons, and he's just going Hussars now. He's given up on Paladin, he's given up on Latus, and he's got so much more gold banked at the moment. I want to check resources collected. So resources collected is similar, but the gold count is higher for Biry. And I like this decision from him. He says, okay, we just cleared up the fight. He's going to rebound, try and stop us. We're going to go raid. Did he do anything? No. Maybe a bad example, but that's the thinking that you should have. I wonder if maybe some archer ranges here could make sense. I don't know. I wonder if Onager would make sense. Now, there's the tech we talked about. Holtcha. So now the skirmishers for Ozone they'll be much stronger than without that tech. They'll fire 2 bolts. But it does feel unnatural to make skirms when your opponent can have Winged Hussar. And it also is much harder to micro when your skirms are slow, you know? I guess they're normal speed and the skirms for the Lithuanians are fast, but... This hand cannon addition was quite nice, right? Because Ozone's still been sending in some Eagles into this mix, and those Eagles are not doing near as much now. Ozone queuing up Eagles, queuing up Plumes. He's got 50 plumed archers, but he's got no siege. Game 1 in this series. And this is why I like Ghost Lake. Ghost Lake has some amazing post-imp battles. I love it. This is why some players don't like Ghost Lake. Some players like to have more objectives to fight over, like hills and be able to build in the middle and whatnot. But I think both players have shown that they really understand what they're doing here. The castle positions towards the corners have been awesome. The fighting over the extra golds has been great. Ultimately, Biry won the battle for the golds, but now he has to somehow kill 100 army. There's so much army for Ozone. But he's down. If you compare his economic state to Biry, he's down by what'll soon be 20 vills, right? And so if you can't use that army count to win you the game, eventually the resources banked, which is going to happen for Biry because he has more villagers overall, is what you prefer. So ideally you have 100 army, but then you have an unkillable army, and then that army can then push and grinds down castles, and then your opponent's exposed. Like, the castles still stand, at least, for Biry. And I'm not sure these plumed archers are really looking all that hot at this point. I mean, they're very jumpy, and they've got a lot of spring in their step, which I appreciate. Boing, 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 boing. But I'm not sure the unit's actually... Is that the gold unit you want? Okay, just a couple random villagers over here from Ozone. There is a little bit of gold remaining here. Look at this. He's going to try and take what's left of that 500 gold, and there goes Biry. Biry creeping forward. There's been multiple attempts from Biry to try and raid with Hussars, and he runs into Castle Fire and a mix of army. If the castles start to go down, if the relics are gone for Ozone, and suddenly Biry can squeak right by, I think Ozone has understood that a big fight was needed. He's got up to 30 Eagles here, guys. That's the biggest Eagle mass he's had in the game, and this fight might end up deciding the game. If Ozone can clear all of this, and then turn this into a push where he could turn around and, you know, punch Biry right in the mouth, it could be awesome for him. And he actually gets an amazing fight from this. Still has 22 Eagles. He's got a bigger army count by a landslide. And he's got Trebs. Wow. What patience, man. I mean, he's out of gold, right? Like, he's completely out. So this has to work. If he loses these trebuchets, he could be in big trouble. So he snipes a bombard cannon. He sees the next bombard cannon. And, oh, the Eagles can't get through. No. Pathing. I'm pretty sure he clicked it. Oh, he gets it. And the trebs are already there. Holy crap. Biry, you have to commit your Hussars and everything you've got towards those Trebs. You just have to. You're going to lose the Hussars, but the Hussars only cost food. And the Hussars a pretty good freaking unit. And now Ozone's going to lose his Trebs. So we're back in a situation where neither player really has siege. God, that's a horrible feeling if you're Ozone. But it follows a horrible feeling that Biry had after losing that initial battle. 1,500 gold banked for Biry. He is the only one mining what is left on the gold in this map. How many ranges do we have for Ozone? It doesn't really have the wood to drop more ranges. Do you really want your own skirms here? I like how Biry's like, yep, this game's going to go on for a while. Time for crop rotation. Actually, a lot of his farms are about to expire, too. No, this is going to be reseeded before crop rotation. RIP. Yeah, it makes sense. So this is a slog and a half. This area is super vulnerable for raids, though. This is why I would have preferred this castle be here earlier. It protects more of the vulnerabilities. Biry just holding at home with his skirms and with his hand cannons. He's going to go for guilds now, guys. I like that choice. That means he gets a little bit more in return when he sells. And Biry says draw. Biry's asking for a draw because I think he realizes this game's going to be insane. Obviously kidding. There will not be a draw here. I think Ozone might take it, though. Ozone's like, well, I don't have 3 relics. Sure, let's restart. We would not allow such a thing. They must earn it. And there go those winged hussars. The 46 halbs, 59 plumes for Ozone. And both of these two respect each other so much. And both have the quality to make it into Titans League Gold. And do considerably well. Both do. I can say that before seeing the other games. There's certain players you just believe in, you know? And the hype is real over these two. Okay, well, I'm starting to see a lot more movement on the raid front from Biry. And this will distract Ozone in the middle. Engagement here. Again, these hand cannons are wedged back here, hoping to kill all the eagles. And it's mainly halbs now. And then I guess you just back up. Like, you're about to lose your wave of skirms in front. You just back up with the hand cannons and then send more skirms and hussars in front. KD says that Biry's been taking the better engagements. Resources collected says that Biry's had the better economy. The bombard cannons have come in clutch here for Biry, though. There's been multiple instances where those bombard cannons have sniped trebuchets in crucial moments. I think if Biry loses this game, he'll really be kicking himself he went for Elite Latus. I think something that could have been more valuable was Onager. I mean, he still has this, like this guy. That's his only Latus, but I don't know if that was really worth it for him. And now you're at a stage of the game where, yeah, you don't want to trickle Treb, but how many Trebs can you realistically afford? Mayans do get Siege Ram, so that is sometimes something Mayans will consider in late game. But against, like, this many winged hussars, I think that even feels like a waste of gold. You're simply struggling for resources. You see Ozone has set the rally point with these barracks all the way over here. All of his barracks are headed to this spot to defend from this. And it's just a slow crawl from Biry. This is the type of game it has to be. You have to just slowly take out their buildings. Maybe it'll be a wood game. The plumes, I take it back, by the way. The plumes were an excellent choice. These units are mowing down the skirms. And if they get the hand cannons, that's 28 gold units there. You can't replenish that. Oh, man, that would have been ridiculous. I like the way he's controlling them. You just always have the halbs in front, and you move these bad boys around. Did lose some. I mean, what else would you make? Arbalest would be too slow. The speed of the plumed archers is really helped out a lot here. I think Biry is going to try and ram push this side. Again, it will be awkward if you don't have siege ram. Capped ram's good, but how are you supposed to protect that when you've got this main battle to focus on? Let me look at wood. I'm concerned for Ozone's wood control. Like, obviously, this is super raidable. He does actually have villagers over here. Like, this area as well. Like, this is all pretty exposed. What about Biry? This is... Well, actually, Biry's taking most of his wood right here. So I guess it's good for Biry that he's currently pushing here. Something that's really frustrating when you're trying to defend from raids is you always have to have like just enough units waiting. You don't want to have too many. Like, it's so easy to have 13 halbs waiting for hustlers that will eventually show up. And that's a high percentage of your population if you think about it, right? Look at all these halbs. Look at all these skirms that are around. So if you're the one doing the raiding, you're forcing your opponent to have some units waiting, and oftentimes they're going to have too many. And if they have too few, then obviously you kill the villagers. So you have to have... You're almost always banking on having too many in those areas. It's kind of hard to describe, but... 2 trebuchets that can't be addressed. A capped ram that also is not being dealt with. Biry still just sitting here and waiting. He's finding some nice raids here. I think Ozone had just pulled halbs from that area, possibly. So, vills are starting to go down for Ozone. Buildings are starting to go down for Ozone. I mean, barely, but still. But I think the crucial one here is honestly just the castles and the corner for wood control. In terms of our long term here, I think we could have another 30 minutes in this game. Because there's still 3 castles for Ozone. But the castles protect farming eco, they do not protect wood. I wonder if it's even worth using your gold if you're Biry to buy stone for another castle here. I'd probably not because the price is pretty expensive, but... Oh, God. Even just having to make a monk to get the relics again could be so costly and so awkward for you here. And that's why Biry's doing it, right? He's going to go for the monastery. The military leave for the first time in a long time is for Biry. And Biry's got the unit queue. Earlier in the game, he didn't have the queue. He's got everything in queue he needs. Ozone's unit queue is looking a whole lot worse. He's panic queuing more and more villagers. He didn't even finish the monastery. Are you kidding? The trebs from Biry also very exposed. But castle, I think it needs to receive 3 volleys to go down. Actually, it would need to be 4. Oh, and there's a treb here. So trebs go down for Biry, and obviously that hurts. But for Ozone, you're down to 50 army. You're down to 2 castles. These castles do not protect your wood anymore. This is your wood eco. It feels like you're one big hustle raid away from losing that. And I think both players kind of know the direction this is going right now. This is kind of funny to me. It's funny to me that Biry still doesn't know that Ozone has villagers there. But he's so focused on the front. And there's a monk on the way. Or at least there was a monk on the way. Maybe Capture H is bugged because I think the monk was in queue. Okay, so there's not a monk on the way anymore. I think Ozone canceled it. But now he officially has 0 gold income. And maybe this answers our question. Lithuanians better in the super late game. But also, maybe it comes back to early Imperial Age. Maybe it comes back to the style. I don't know, but both players are playing so incredibly good here. We are undoubtedly going to have a lot more open maps in this series. I don't think we're going to have a lot of closed maps. It is possible that Ozone or Biry are going to like draft around closed maps because they're fearful of the other one on open maps, but I think Biry needs to stick to his style, which is open maps. Ozone needs to do the same, and I don't think either should really have a fear, per se, of the other. These guys prefer their Arabias, their Acropolis. There will be some hybrid maps in there, I'm sure. So, you know, you're at 180 pop. You really don't want to resign. You are going to get your relics back. To anyone who's thinking, why put the relics close by? Well, because it's easier to do, and because if you lose this position, you are officially dead, so you might as well try. Monk is a beast, though. Monk might actually make it back with the relic before he eventually dies here. And never mind. The skirms and the hand cannons. Like, that combination has been really sick. Look at this. Guys, this group of 25 hand cannons has 200 kills. I wouldn't really think to do that, personally. I think I would not add hand cannons behind my skirms if my opponent didn't have eagles anymore. I mean, he made a lot of them when eagles were out, but he's just done a good job keeping them in the right position and slowly creeping forward with a whole lot of patience. Still doesn't realize there's villagers here. Has tried to raid here, but halbs are always waiting. But, man, I mean, it sucks to resign at 190 pop, but how are you supposed to win this game right now? You're going to have no relics, because the monastery will go down again. He's trying to make a monk, so he can go take that even further back into his base. There's the monk. That's good. Your plumed archer mass is super low now, too. So it's down to 26. How is he at 100? How is he at 200 pop? It does not feel like Ozone has 200 pop right now. He certainly doesn't have the army count Biry does, and he doesn't have an easy way to take out the siege. So it's just a slow crawl from here. So listen, having had conversations with Ozone, I won't share any, critical details, obviously. Otherwise, people never train or talk to me again. But he absolutely knew that Biry would be prepared, right? We both talked about his performances in previous TTL, and we knew that a lot of players are training for this. And Biry, we don't know exactly his training partners. Probably a lot of his Argentinian pals have been working really hard. Biry's a competitor. So, yeah, I think it's good to have that mindset to know, okay, I'm going to lose some games, potentially. No need to freak out, right? We're in the third round of potentially 4. You're going to lose some games against these guys. So I think for him, this like the next 10 minutes of this game, however long this is going to freaking be, I think it actually helps your mindset a little bit. And you're like, okay, it was a good game. It was close. A couple tweaks here, there's fine. You don't have, there doesn't have to be any alarm bells going off in your head right now. What's up, Nick? Key moment was when Ozone had the advantage and pushed with 1 or 2 trebs. Yeah, but guys, it's crazy, right? Like, that's the level we're talking about. Just one moment in a game that's 1 hour and 30 minutes. I think you could also make arguments that he could have played a bit smoother in some other small moments, like maybe in Feudal. But yeah, finally, we're starting to see the population reflect the situation. It's 140 pop now for Ozone, who is never going to resign if his population showed 180. But once you start to see 140, once it dips to like 130, 120, that's when you start to realize. And I think this might be the final nail in the coffin, losing these villagers over here. Because he still can't address any of this. And he calls the GG. Biry takes the first game, a very good game indeed. And Lithuanians are kind of weird, right? Like, we see Lithuanians chosen for hybrid situations a lot, or just more open land maps, I suppose. But the Lithuanian late game was really solid here. So, what we're not doing, because we are trying, I don't know exactly how long the series is going to be. What we're not doing is we're not focusing on the draft too much. So we're just going into each game and taking it game by game. So I'm not going to be able to deep dive on that. But I don't think this was necessarily a counter pick from Biry. I just felt like it was a comfort pick for... You want a good, economic, solid, overall, stable civilization for Ghost Lake in the first game of the series. Lithuanians definitely worked out. Great job from Biry. Initially, he didn't have good vision on the neutral golds. He didn't have a lot of focus there, but then he shifted his focus there. And the best thing from Biry in this game was honestly damage control. Like, there were multiple instances. I mean, both players did, but there were multiple instances where he could have died if he lost the front of his base, lost castles, and he sniped those trebs immediately. And really clutch holds there. The biggest one was early Imperial Age. I think if Ozone has 4 trebuchets in early Imperial Age, he pushes back this castle, and at that point in the game, Biry still had gold here. And then the rest of the game gets more awkward for him. He's not able to focus on those neutral golds as much, because he has to defend the death and destruction that's in his base. But that was like 45 minutes ago, so. God, these guys... Okay, before... Artie, we can include this, okay? I just want you both to appreciate that they are both doing this nonsense, okay? They are both 100% playing with team colors. But they chose the most obnoxious colors they could. Just in the off chance that their opponent wouldn't play with team colors, it'd be hard to see them. Biry goes for orange, and Ozone goes for freaking gray, okay? They're both playing in red and blue, absolutely. I just kind of thought that was funny. So we're going to put Ozone in the yellow, and then we're going to put Biry back into blue. We're going to stay consistent with that. And I was really curious if Ozone will go for Arabia. So something I told him was, and this is something that I've realized a bit about myself, play to your freaking strengths, okay? Even if your opponent's good on that map or knows about the map, just play to your freaking strengths anyways, right? Both players are always playing Arabia on the ladder. Biry has a lot of all-in styles with certain civilizations. Civilizations, I'm sure, were banned out. Like, there's no question. Mongols was definitely on the ban list. Celts might have been on the ban list. Gurjaras maybe on the ban list. Anyways, Portuguese for Ozone. A really good civilization at combining gold types, or gold units. So gold units are super cheap. Their economy is quite nice. You can afford to go a combination of knights, combination of archers. It's hard for a lot of civs to do that. But Malians is another one that can do that. Malians super flexible, saving lots of wood on their wood buildings, and also have a bit of a gold spike as well with their eco. So map definitely looks a bit more awkward for Ozone in the long term. Main gold is on the front, which is, it's not unreasonable. It's fine. But this gold, and then this gold too. Like, all the gold areas, if he doesn't have control over this game, could ruin the game for him. For Biry, I find the main gold much nicer because it is behind a wood line, which keeps it safe. It is kind of awkward to mining camp, but still. And then these golds are actually really far on the back. Now, they're not ideal positions. No one really wants to town center on top of a hill with only gold, but definitely something to consider here. All right, so let's say this is ranked Arabia, okay? Let me tell you exactly how this game's going to go. You ready? I bet you I can predict it all because Ozone's so freaking good at it. We're going to have... I don't know what they're saying. Maybe someone could translate for me. They must have paused there. Okay. So, I'm guessing that we are going to see an archer opening from Ozone. What? Never mind. I take it back. Never mind. He might go scouts, actually. Oh, I'd be so proud of him. If he goes scouts, I'd be so proud of him. I might have never seen Ozone open scouts in my life, guys. I thought he was going to go archers. He's going to push his opponent towards skirms. He's then going to go into scouts against the skirms, then have archers and scouts, and then dominate an early castle age. But whoa. Going to the berries. But I mean, with Portuguese, you do get some wood from the berries too, so that's kind of nice. You don't want to delay that. Yeah, Ozone loves his fast archers. And I wonder, Biry's got to know that too, right? And Biry right now making an early barracks, and he's going to go for some militia here. He wants a little bit of control before Feudal Age. Anyways, Biry is pushing a lot of deer here. Actually, I think he's not going for militia. I was going to say, it's surprising to me that he's going to try and make militia and is still pushing deer. This makes more sense. He is going to wait for the militia production because he's going to click up the feudal first. And so the greed pays off a little bit for him. On this side for Ozone, oh, he's going to gold anyways. All right. All right, so my initial prediction is able to hold true. Let's see how he executes on this and what the scouting looks like. Because he saw the berries. We'll see if he spots everything else. Now, there are players who on a map like Arabia are just going to go for their strat, right? And unless you have a civ like Mongols that can hit them really early, you just kind of got to brace yourselves for it. And Ozone's one of those guys. It's weird, though, because you're not really bracing yourself for archers. That's just going to happen. If anything, he does a really good job of prepping himself. He knew the barracks was up rather early, so that could mean man-at-arms. So he's got to keep his village protected here. He didn't actually see the militia, but he understands the map quite well, and now he sees the militia. But what's the follow-up from Biry? So the follow-up from Biry is typically going to be archers, right? The idea is, if you're a good archer player, you could have more archers than them, or be faster to archers. Or, if they go skirms, and this is where it gets really tricky. I'm simplifying it massively. You go skirms, you actually don't upgrade your archers, and then you go for scouts. And oh man, Biry known for his forwards here. Biry's kind of run into some problems coming across the map, and Ozone's going to see this, and he's going to know that that's likely going to be an aggressive archer range from Biry. Biry did a full run around of Ozone's base, knows the gold is there. He's going to make an archer range right next to it. Oof, okay. That's crazy, man, but this is what Biry does. He loves his aggressive strategies. Ozone, investing into the economy, investing into the archers. He will know his archers will be out faster, but he's up against Malian men-at-arms, and Malian men-at-arms have extra pierce armor. Ozone, he wants to kill that Vil, but I think he knows that Biry's going to expect him, so he's just acting like he's going to kill it. And Biry now going to bring his scout over because now Ozone scout is weak. This is all really difficult stuff to execute on, guys. This is all high pressure. The whole game could fall apart in an instant. Even just losing your scout here could be horrible. The micro is amazing. Now, notice that Biry's idle TC time's going up. So he's microing this. And this isn't all that uncommon for him, but he's microing this. And it's harder for him to have the eco side of things while he's doing it. Skirmisher is the choice. Makes sense, right? You know your opponent's going to be going for archers. The Skirmisher was the choice, but Skirmisher gets picked off by the starting scout from Ozone. The scout doesn't take any hits from the man-at-arms there. He's still producing archers. He's got 3 archers now. Has stalled production a little bit and needs to be very careful here. Is getting fletching here in a moment. A scout still on full HP for Biry. Biry also microing away. I'm not trying to offend my audience, but I know that like 90% of people who are going to watch this can't micro this even if they're not looking at economy. But, oh man, Biry falling apart now. And what did he do? Probably went home, placed a farm or something like that, and now his scout is dead. And the KD for Ozone, it's now 3-1. He just lost that Spearman, but the Spearman did its job. So with fletching, you have more firepower and you've got more range. But Skirm still tanks some shots, right? So it has to be good. And after losing the first game, which was incredibly long, you don't know what a player's going to look like. They could easily be discouraged after losing a game like that. But this is looking amazing for Ozone. He's got a villager lead. Not because he killed villagers, but because he's continued production of his own villagers. He's got a lead with eco upgrades, and he's got incredible patience here. And now that the man-at-arms are dead, he's still using that starting scout with his archers against the skirms, and he's going to add a stable to make scouts. It's going to be really tricky for Biry now. If he had some archers mixed into his ranged army, then it could be a little bit different. Because then suddenly you're doing a bit more damage versus the scout here. But this scout could still do crazy things. Look at that. This is why losing your scout's so painful. The scout plays a big role in the micro battle. Yeah, I thought Biry was going to tower, but towering with 2 villagers always feels a little awkward, right? Because you're definitely not going to get your tower up before your opponent does. That's a nice find for Biry. And Biry must be a little paranoid right now that Ozone's going to counterattack, but Ozone's actually just waiting to clear this. And there's another scout, and now this becomes a big problem for this army for Biry. I think he will lose everything here. I know it's only 1 scout, but that 1 scout could kill the archer. These archers will kill the archer. There's now another scout on the way. Great job from Biry to find some archer picks throughout this, but these villagers have to get out of here. And this forward is completely dead. I think Ozone's doing the right thing here. I think you have to wall this up, but I think you also need to immediately counterattack because you cannot give a player like Biry time to stabilize. And so another unit there died. 13-6 KD for Ozone. And he's going to park his new archers here and try and wall that in as he counterattacks now. Res collected. Crazy. 1,000 more resources collected under all that pressure. But also that's Portuguese, right? You receive wood from taking berries. He also invested into the wood upgrade, the farm upgrade. Like, in the small moments where he realized that he's done okay against the aggression, he just put in greater investment into his economy, and now he applies pressure. And also, it'd be so easy to just forget to not have the proper amount of army here, because you know Biry could pop out at any time, but it seems like he's got the unit numbers there he needs. I think Biry needs a move here. I think he just needs to try. I think he honestly just run this way towards the gold. If the units are on top of the hill, just go boop. And Ozone's just going to try and full wall this one. Take this one towards Castle Age. And, he denies a couple berries there. He's going to try and loop around. Maybe hit the wood line here for Biry. All right, Biry, if you're going to pop out, it needs to be soon, dude. I know that your army count's not going to be that great, but it needs to be soon. You got 5 archers, that's enough. Run out this way. This is a chance for you. Oh, no, I hate it when that happens. He has to delete the range. It's actually the right play, so he can get all of his archers out. His archers were stuck. And, okay, he does make a run for it. And it's good that he did. He kills a villager. It's the first villager kill of the game. And he's still going to have an annoying force here. The big problem for him is that this is his only army. He does not have an army here. And the worker efficiency for his economy is, it's been 50% over the last minute. This villager here is going to die. These villagers have all gone over to gold now. He's pretty much just got gold and 5 farmers, 5 lumberjacks maybe. And he's going to rely on that market. But Biry, he hasn't forced Ozone into a position where Ozone really needs to rely on the market. Sorry, I didn't have the market events on. There it is. So there was some market usage from both. You still can't kill this army. You have to buy stone to tower this gold. But you also need the gold to go castle. It's just such a tough position to be in. I was curious what Biry would do on Arabia. And he still tried his forward. But he didn't have the forward on the back of the Mongols. And I think, you know, these guys have played each other enough times where maybe they both knew how this was going to go. A confident display from Ozone. He can go into knights. He can go into crossbowmen. He can do so many different things. He's only killed 1 Vil. That could change, obviously. But it feels like with all the army that he has, he's going to be able to finish the game in early Castle Age. What do you even make? If Ozone's economy was a bit worse, maybe you make siege against only crossbowmen and you defend and you delay. But the fact that Ozone's in a position to make knights and make archers is the problem, because then your siege can't be the only defense. Dang. Yeah, 1 kill and tons of idle time. Look at the worker efficiency overall. 71% versus 79%. And scouts could still find some value as well. I will say, Ozone really likes to control the game. There are moments where at times maybe he's not as aggressive as maybe he could be to go and get a lot of kills. But he does that because he doesn't want to try and get those kills, fail to get those kills, and then not have control over the game anymore. They're actually, both players are very different in how they play in that regard. And Biry calls the GG. Biry tried to do all the damage at once. Ozone held. And Ozone with a rebound victory right there. So again, not knowing exactly what the home maps are going to look like. If we have standard land maps, I think that this will be problematic for Biry. Ozone is just simply that clean and that smooth. Helped out by the Portuguese in some ways, but he knew the militia were coming forward. He saw the archer range, so he knew it would be a forward. And he adapted perfectly from there. It was incredibly clean play from the guy. And he ties up the series. And there we are. Game number 3. Man, this is going to be an interesting one. So when I was thinking about home maps that Biry might want to go for, I was thinking of maps that would allow him to play towards extremes. Because he loves to have heavy commitment towards things. And he's gone for Scandinavia here. And this is definitely one where you can have some extremes. So there's water on either side. And so I think Biry would love nothing more than to find out where his opponent's fish are. And try and kill all those fishing ships with multiple docks. But that's not everything on this map either, right? There's other interesting aspects like, the land. And so with Japanese, maybe we could see some pressure there on land as well. So you don't really know what you're going to be up against here for your Ozone, because the Japanese can play in towards water and the Japanese can play in towards land quite well. I think if we're talking about taking advantage of a civilization's strengths, I think the correct play with the Japanese is fish away and try and be safe, because Byzantine Navy is stronger due to their fire ships. And then push with man-at-arms early feudal and then adapt from there. There's 3 boars on this map, by the way. Lots of food to work with. And Biry still pushing in deer instead of getting some scouting intel, which is interesting. We got to get numbers on it. Someone's going to have to go back through all the Scandinavia games. But I said it when Bloodless played Tamate, and I casted that. I preached it to Ozone as well. Do not push your freaking deer on this map. Don't do it. Why? You have 3 boars. Get scouting. You can mill this later on. You got to find out what your opponent's doing. It's not bad per se. But yeah, I'm very curious on the win rates. It's such a specific thing. But win rates of players who push their deer versus not. It probably doesn't matter that much. I'd say like half of those games where I get annoyed by it, the lack of scouting really matters. Gold on the back is going to be really nice for Ozone. He's got some beautiful back golds here. Golds are a bit more forward here for Biry. Woodlines are also very cramped and close to Ozone's base, whereas they are quite far away and spaced for Biry. So it actually could be difficult for Biry if he wants to play defensive here. But the longer the games go in this matchup, guys, the Byzantines just absolutely dominate. They have a better tech tree, and they have better defensive options. So I do not think defense should be a priority here at all. I think if Biry wins this game, it's going to be through aggression. Again, you know there's water on either side. You don't necessarily know what side your opponent's going to dock, though. So it is possible starting docks could be in the same side. I'd say maybe 2/3 of the time, you're going to see them dock on separate sides, though. So you could, if you were to assume something, assume that. You see, though, differences, right? Ozone, he knows he's going to have enough food from the boars, and he's choosing to scout. And he's scouted this whole shoreline, so he knows that his opponent is not docked there, and he can freely assume his opponent has docked on this side. These recorded games are live. These were played yesterday, so these are recs. Oh, God, if there's a Vil there, that could be a trap. Scandinavia Woodlines or something else, man. I think if the roles were reversed, though, you kind of... Like, I think part of it for Biry and the reason he's trying to push in so much is maybe due to the fact that Byzantines very rarely are going to go for any feudal age aggression. They normally open to feudal age and adapt. I think that's probably part of it. But remember, Japanese do have cheap mills to be able to take these types of things later on. I'm a very opinionated guy, you know? So fishing away is Ozone. Biry's going to check that shoreline. And you can scout one shoreline and it kind of tells you everything. So if you scout this shoreline and you don't see a dock, you know your opponent's docked the other side. If you scout the shoreline and you do see a dock, then obviously that's where your opponent has docked. And here, Ozone just making sure Biry's paying attention and attacking those palisade walls around the villager there next to the dock. And we are going to see Ozone prep some walls here, and he's sending a Vil to the right-hand side. There is also a villager here, and Biry's going to want to kill this villager, but you see what Ozone's trying to do here. He's trying to wall this, because he's expecting men-at-arms from the Japanese. We are going to see the militia from Biry, and we see 2 villagers. It might be a forward again. I mean, at the very least, I think he should try and contest on water in some way. But it's so tricky. Do you want to contest on water against Byzantines? Obviously, right now, Ozone has Loom, so this scout would either be very low HP and win the fight or lose the fight there. So that can't be a fight that Biry takes. I really like how Ozone has decided to wall like this. Yeah, it could actually trap this scout so the scout can't truly escape. There's not enough villagers to really fully garrison here, though. There's the Vil for Ozone, and this is going to be important because he is going to aim to make fire ships, which are so good with the Byzantines to kill the Japanese fish there. This is Ozone's point of view. So Ozone, I believe, just checked with the fishing ship to see if there was a dock coming up. And there's not. So he's not making a ship because he didn't see a dock. His scout now is come forward, and he probably could see the movement because of the hunt. And maybe this is why Biry pushes his hunt, because he thinks someone could control his hunt. Ozone might never take that deer. That could be rough. There's no berries on this map. Barracks comes up for Ozone. You can see the savings from the Japanese, right? Look at all the buildings that Biry has right now. He's got fishing ships. He's got barracks. He had the barracks super early. He's got men-at-arms. Ozone, he needs to keep this army out. And that was very well played there. So now he's got the stronger scout. And now he can try and hold here. But his archer range is very late, right? Biry running this way with his villagers. Might have actually been good for Ozone to let him run through there. That was looking very weird. And there's an archer now from Biry, so this villager will eventually die. Over here, though, we do have our first fire galley from Ozone. And I think the scout for Biry will just kind of YOLO in on this Vil. Try and kill the Vil so this army can get through here. I think... Oh, a house now! Dude, Ozone's doing such a good job with damage control. Just with this one Vil. It's the same freaking villager, man. He's going to bring more villagers now. I think maybe you need to pull your villager back. Don't lose her. And, oh my god, he saves her. So well played. Now, he is very cheap skirms, so we could go archers and skirms combined. These two villagers are now going to hold to this house. And meanwhile, the fire, I know it's Japanese fish, but the fire is actually going to disrupt the fish here. I don't know if Ozone's going to have it in him to micro this back against the other fishing ships right now. But total KD is just 1-0 right now. Economy is still very close. Idle time and whatnot, obviously a factor. In this case, 0 seconds of TC idle time from Ozone. Again, he cannot take his hunt, though, which could be a big deal as he goes 2 ranges now. So he's going to flood army in the middle. Still hasn't had any issues with his fishing ships over here, though. So from Biry's perspective, he's probably feeling really good about the control he has. But he does have to worry about his fish. He's been very land-focused here. And as he goes to run in, there's now a tower from Ozone. But I'll tell you what I don't like about Ozone's position is just that hunt. I'm addicted to this hunt, man. I'm addicted to it. I think it's so good to have that hunt. And to not have it means you have to mill here, and then you're going to have to farm in around your TC and around that mill. And meanwhile, we do actually have a mill on that hunt. So Biry pushed in the hunt earlier, took all of his boars, has sheep still. Pretty close game here, though, guys. So what you'll see players do here very frequently is they'll try and block with Japanese fishing ships to block the fire. Also, one villager cannot out-repair 2 feudal age fires from Byzantines. So Ozone might actually completely win water here. There's an army looping around this way. We also have the towers shooting each other here. We've got 4 units inside of this tower, 1 outside repairing. 2 units inside of this tower, 1 outside repairing. Ozone's tracking this with his scout. Both players have fletching now, and the army on land will be better for Ozone, who did lose a ship here. And right now, he's actually going for the villager. Does he know he's going for the villager? Was he damaging both? Whoa, he gets the villain micros back. That was sick. Whoa, that was really sick. And he's got another fire waiting. Guys, his fishing ships are still working. Biry's fallen off here. I think Biry has been incredibly tunnel visioned on land. And I think an opportunity for him would have... And it's tricky against Byzantines, don't get me wrong. But maybe you have to try and disrupt the water here in some way. Now Ozone's been able to chill out. He's transitioned into the farming economy. He's got 7 farms here. Remember, he still has had more fishing ships. And he's got lots of range units. I think something that's hurting Ozone right now, though... Dude, you've got the army. You've got double range. You know your opponent has a forward range. His army's likely split up from everything. You got to move out, dude. He probably feels good. He's like, okay, don't need to take any risks in this matchup. I win with Byzantines. I get that. But if he were to move out right now, like, Biry's completely screwed. Biry's using the market. Biry's going to try and get his way up to the next stage so we can get knights. Anyways, now Ozone does move out. And it's pretty good he sticked home, honestly, because he's going to kill an archer. His villager could be found. Actually, no stone right now for Ozone, which is incredibly awkward. He might actually end up losing this tower. If he loses this game, if Ozone loses this game, it's because he doesn't go forward. Like, Biry is completely open. And from Biry's perspective, he knows. He's like, okay, this is awful for me long term. But if I get knights that clears everything, if I go knight siege before he's castled, then I'm good. Kind of similar to what happened in the previous game, right? In terms of Biry's style. But he had more success in this game with the forward. In some ways, anyways. Okay, I don't know where those villagers are going, but it's probably to forward somewhere. Ozone might have spotted that. Ozone does see a tile of gold, but he doesn't necessarily know if that's the main gold or not. We've got more fires here from Ozone. He'll find what's left of the fish from Biry, and Biry's food eco is awful. And here come the range units. And, I mean, you got to tower this, I think. You have to buy stone. Maybe try and tower this if you're Biry. These 2 villagers are sneaking so they can make a siege workshop somewhere, but that's found by 2 archers that Ozone just conveniently left there. I think they've been sitting there for a couple minutes, and disaster strikes here for Biry. His tower will be shot down. Here he's losing villagers. He does not have economy. It's the same theme. Ozone's going to have great military numbers when he gets to Castle Age. And he's going to have the better economy to be able to make whatever he wants, really. Obviously, the main focus right now is going to be crossbow. Those villagers died. And, well, you're staring at your opponent's main gold where he went double mining camp. You haven't seen any resistance on water. You're taking out this tower now. And even though the first game was an hour-long slog, I'm sure after winning game 2 and now looking at your situation, you're feeling pretty damn good if you're Ozone. And probably feeling pretty bad if you're Biry. And it's just a difference in playstyles. Biry, he wants to bend you till you break early. And Ozone's happy to utilize economy and utilize meta and just small depths of strategy here or there to take it deeper into the game. And why Ozone is one of the players I think could go really far in the scene. It's why he's going to win this game, I think. Yeah, Monastery is going to be a struggle. Double Monastery from Biry! Double Monastery! He's got no food. He's got no gold. And we just see some stables dropped here from Ozone. Look at this, though, guys. Like, I know that I'm a big fan of Ozone and all that, but like, look at this. He's got beautiful vision. I love the timing on his economy upgrades. I love the outpost there, just so he knows if there's going to be a siege workshop because he knows his opponent. This is awesome. And he can simply house wall the knights out and move out here, take out the monks, take out the villagers. And that was just like game number 2. It really wasn't close. I think Biry, like, I don't know. Was he too stubborn trying to go in here? Did he need to go to this side? I don't know. It's really tricky for me. It does feel like he had so much army and so much potential for damage, but he really struggled to break through here. That one villager from Ozone that pre-walled it, the house walling, the just damage control, right? As he was able to, he didn't need the land army. He could delay his own land army so he could kill the fish. That was the moment in the game that was important. And then the other thing too, and this is just a style thing. So, okay. Remember, he didn't have any of the hunt, right? Okay, at this stage of the game, 7 farms. Look at the eco for Biry. This is just how Biry plays. Like, Biry already has a market, right? So, it's just... I think Biry also feels as though he has to play to such extremes to beat Ozone. And he tried it there. So, GG. I will say this. I like the extremes, even though it didn't work out at all there. Having played Japanese versus Byzantines many times, and, you know, Biry knowing here that his opponent's fishing economy is left untouched and his economy was hit, I actually think the extreme of trying to rush the Castle Age makes a lot more sense. But I think you could probably, like, I don't know, you could have a little bit better wood economy leading up towards this stage so you could actually have some farms to work with. There's things to work with. Actually, I did want to check resources collected before we move on to the next game. Okay, so there's the KD, 28 to 12. Resources collected. That's pretty significant. Way more wood and food. Gold count was fairly similar, and then stone even more for Ozone there. Okay, so this is game 4. A must-win for Biry, otherwise he is out of silver and will not be advancing to gold. The map is Shoals, and I've been freaking loving Shoals, dude. Shoals is so fun. It's so many different civ combinations that I've been able to see in some of the practice games I've watched and played in. And I was not expecting Khmer. I have actually seen Romans at play on this map before, though. It's not the first time I've seen it. I have a game that I'm hopefully going to have time to cast for YouTube, which featured Romans, which was just top tier on this. But anyways, we have the Romans for Ozone. So I'm excited because it's Shoals, and it's one of my favorite maps from this season. I'm also excited because it's Romans, and we get to see Romans. This is the first time I'll see them cast them in a tournament. But the third reason is because if Ozone's ever ahead and he starts to lose a game, I say throw zone, okay? If he throws with Romans, it's throw zone, Thromans. Okay, I thought that was going to be so much better. But if you ever throw a game with Romans, You could say, oh no, Thromans. Anyways, I'm sorry. In my head, I was like, wow, this is going to sound really funny. And then I just forced it. Okay, so the meta that I believe is best, we do not see a lot of people do this. I've noticed thus far. But I think players, as we get down to the deciders, are going to be doing it more and more, is just fast castle on this map. You do start with a sea tower, so you can use that sea tower to protect your fish. You still will want fishing ships, but the majority of players that know what they're doing on this map, I think, are going to go fast castle. From there, you can transition into water, and then eventually you need to control these golds, which is the big focus, because you only have 4 tiles of gold at your base. But yeah, I think so. With that in mind, before I discuss more about the Romans, I think I like the Khmer because you can skip some steps, and you don't need to wait for your buildings to go up to the next stage. And also, expansive farming economy can be really good to potentially like raid and whatnot later on in the game. So that could be awesome. Now, the Romans, according to Mr. Yo, are the most broken civilization in the game right now. Did you guys know that? Yo said that on a podcast recently. It was like, yo, what's the most, do we have any balance issues? Is there an OP civ right now? And he said Romans, which kind of shocked me. But, I've seen Romans in some situations against me. I played with them, and I'm like, man, this civilization's economy is ridiculous. I think that's why you picked them here. The other thing that could be really interesting, so the civ's pretty one-sided, right? It's got amazing economy, and then it's infantry and cavalry. But if you're able to use strong infantry and cavalry maybe to snipe trebuchets in a Trebor situation, that could be enough to turn the tide. I don't know. So we'll see. Anyways, there's the dock there for Ozone. Right underneath that tower, there's the dock for Biry. Again, I do not know what the final map is as far as the home maps go. But you have to assume it's Ozone's, right? So it would probably be like Acropolis. Yeah, I think Acropolis would make sense. Acropolis, Kilimanjaro. He looked so good in the land transitions the last 2 games that I think he probably would want to avoid water and avoid walls. So he wouldn't go for fortified clearing or arena or cross or anything. I could see cross, though. I don't know. Harris as a Centurion is broken, too. Yeah, I mean, I personally do not think we're at a point where we can say the Romans are broken. But I am a caster, and I can be pretty extreme, but I speak in less extremes, right? It's common for a pro player. Ozone, I love you for this. Thank you for attacking that house and being annoying. That makes me so happy. It's very common for players to just be like, something happens, and oh god, now he loses HP to the TC. But it'd be like, oh, the most busted thing ever. This is busted. This is busted. Or these things are literal ass. Like that's more of an opinion you have from players from time to time. This is not good from Ozone. This starting scout, I was planning a whole 2-minute tirade about how important the starting scout is and how it frustrates me when players don't pay more attention to it on a map like this. I don't know about a tirade. Now I'm being extreme. But anyways, it's really important because I do not expect a lot of land military here. So now that scout could be caught out and exposed. Does Ozone's woodline go all the way to the edge? It looks like it, yes. This one here, yes, it does. It's hard to tell, but you could see those trees there. I sounded like Bill Burr for a second. Well, that's the greatest compliment I've ever received. Well, actually, no, I'm just a really big Bill Burr fan. I don't know if me sounding like Bill Burr is actually a compliment. So, okay, the expectation here is fast castle. It should be slightly easier for the Khmer because they don't need to make their buildings. If they're both going fast castle, I think they're both going to be tempted to add a second dock, make some navy, and kill the opponent's fish. But we'll see on that. Biry found a water buffalo back here, and he's looking to escort that out. But he is actually going to be stuck within Ozone's walls, which I think Ozone knows. Because why else would he not send his scout within his walls here? I think that's what he wants. Normally you want to do that, because if your opponent's in Feudal Age faster and you have the weaker scout, they could kill you. Okay, he sees that scout. He's milling the deer back here, which I think is really nice. There's always deer spread out throughout this map. And look at Biry. He's already sending villagers towards this side, I think, to think about TCing this gold. I'm honestly just happy to see Roman's gameplay. Haven't actually played them myself. Yeah. Happy to bring it to you here. So you have to go for the market. You have to go for the blacksmith. But okay, just to finish my thoughts on Romans. So I think they're really good in certain matchups, but they have some extreme weaknesses. But they are extremely good at what they do, which is economy. So in like a straight boom game, which may be the plan here, they're very strong. 5% more efficiency on basically everything is nuts. And then you combine that with the thing about the double armor that I found is quite nice is you save a lot of time. So let's just say that, both players are going for like champions or something, right? I know that there's no champions for Romans and it's legionary. We can talk about that. But getting double blacksmith upgrades on the infantry means that both players are executing the same timings. You are simply going to be faster to getting those upgrades. And it gives you some real potential to push. And you combine that with insane armor really quickly, combined with having better economy overall already, is very strong. When I first saw the Romans tech tree, what I had said was, I think the 5% thing is going to be potentially the biggest issue with them. And I think the devs realized that they kind of limited their tech tree. So we'll see. Typical Biry fashion. The guy can't have a boom game. Like, I'm thinking he's going to drop down centers. He can't have a boom game. He wants to kill. And if you're Ozone, you have to be a little careful where you send your scout. I don't think you would really expect this, but I think he's just checking here to see if Biry's maybe going to TC the side. But he's got no clue. Doesn't seem to have any idea that his opponent's doing this. He does see the scout now. You can run through the middle here. So he'll see the scout from Biry. Ozone going to invest into the water. Ozone doesn't even have a barracks right now. This could be really bad. This could be horrible. Like, let's say best case scenario for him. He kills 6 fish. Okay, that's good. But the 6 fishing ships have already brought some benefit, right? He has nothing here. He's just about to hit Castle Age and Knights are running right by his TC. He just simply doesn't know this is happening. He's scouted the base from Biry. He doesn't see a damn thing. And he's got a full-on damage control mode. He quick walls on the gold. And now he has to quick wall his TC here. Uh-oh. Come on, quick wall it. Oh, disaster strikes. He's also trying to wall here to stop more knights from coming in, which is understandable. And we have more knights breaking their way through here. We actually had a scorpion from Biry. Biry's killed 2 villagers already. But what do you do with your gold miners? Oh, God, and there's villagers up here as well. Oh, this is horrible. I mean, War Galley upgrade's on the way, so we could maybe kill some fish soon. But, oh, God, the lack of gold access is going to be horrible. And the vills are just lined up. Oh, God, no. They're lined up for the scorpion. Rip. Idle time's going to spike like crazy. And, oh, God, this is just so bad. It's at 9-0 KD right now for Biry. All of that was on economy, and he's going to find another pick here as well. All right, well, that's not good. We do have monks now for Ozone, so we could try and convert knights. But there's also monks for Biry, so if a knight is converted, he can just convert it back. Biry from here, he should not worry about water at all, and you just boom it home. You have to get your eco upgrades, which he's working on, just to make sure your eco is not completely horrible. Oh, God. These villagers didn't know what to do. They were just stuck over there. More villagers going to go down. He's now lost 14 villagers in this game. But yeah, you just add quite a bit of eco at home. One thing I will say is that Ozone's been on 2 TCs for a bit. And he's had the food economy, and he's added more fish. So that does compensate for the losses a little bit. He's only behind by 7 economically. Now you have food there, and then you're still working more efficiently. But man, that was rough. I do like how he was able to bring a scout home, though. That scout could maybe pick off a monk here. Market from Biry. Interesting. Biry doesn't have horse collar. Biry doesn't really seem to have a very balanced economy, which is why he's adding the market to help with that. But he has stopped knight production, thinking he's done enough. Neither player has a TC on the gold area. But, I mean, you know, both players could consider doing that. Ozone could make a run for it, honestly. Hey, bring the monks with you. Go place a TC over there. Biry, finish that market, my friend. Balance this economy. This is your weakness as a player. Your strength is you can kill fast. Balance that economy. There we go. Horse collar. I like it. I would even buy more wood and just drop the next TC. Get those TCs going down. Ozone still has... He's going to feel like you're still all-inning, right? He's still going to invest so much into the defense. Ozone hopes for conversions. He's got the monks lined up on 3 knights. And he's going to get 1. That knight can be converted back. It is converted back, but this monk is gonna not convert another one. The knight gets deleted. Scorpion goes after the monk. Scorpion kills the monk. That's fine for Biry. But honestly, manageable, question mark, for Ozone right now. Let's look at res collected. Okay, so he's behind, but he's actually had more food collected. Maybe this is doable. He did re-wall this as well, so no new units can pass through there. And now he's got to deal with a Scorpion and the Knights. But I think the whole game plan just changed from Biry. He goes for the economy now, and he's just going to go for the 3rd TC. This is completely fine. I love this. And also, Lightcav to control the map is epic, because Ozone's not moving out with any considerable army. He's most likely just going to be moving out with monks, if anything. So I really like how Biry's played this. I also like that Ozone is just simply choosing to TC at home now. Because I think you might be tempted to try and rush out to the gold, but then your opponent could be waiting for you, which we know is going to be the case. 48 eco versus 51, which seemed like it was so unlikely based on our start here. The fishing ships have helped a whole lot. And when this 2nd TC went up was huge as well. Villagers are just going to hide out in this house for a while. Again, guys, winner of this series will play Kasva. A series that I unfortunately could not cover, but it was yesterday. It was epic. Kasva won 3-2 versus Monos. May or may not have been the practice partner of Biry, honestly. But they were in the same group, so maybe that wouldn't have made sense. But it's just another Argentinian who's done quite well. And Ozone kills a monk there, and is going to be feeling pretty good about that. As we now have rams from Biry. I think this is Biry's approach. Biry goes, okay, I have the right side. The left side, if I make army, he can never take gold. I think that's his thought process here. And Lightcav coming in clutch. Boom, monk kill. Beautiful play. Actually sees another monk. But I don't think he's going to end up being able to get it. I'd like to see outposting, but I guess there's no stone right now. I feel like a couple houses here then, couple houses here. Just getting buildings there to get vision or block off that area could be extremely helpful. Now, guys, I've seen two approaches, okay? 2 different approaches from, like, the best of the best from the players I played / helped prepare / casted with, okay? For this map. And this is different approaches in terms of the town centers. We have 3 TCs at home, and then you eventually build up towards a castle and fighting back to take the other side, or one of the gold sides. Or 2 TCs at home, and then the 3rd TC on the gold. So we are actually seeing both of what I consider to be optimal plays for this map. And Biry's back on the hunt here for kills. And Biry killing so many monks. Biry actually through now as well. Biry with rams, Biry with the scorpion, Biry just applying pressure. And behind this, he's got 30 Khmer farms farming away. The villager count might be close, but that will change if the aggression can continue to come in here from Ozone. Sorry, from Biry, rather. From himself. He doesn't have any upgrades on the Lightcav. So this is a 60 HP unit, so they will melt under TC fire. He probably just never made a blacksmith because he didn't need to before a siege workshop because he's Khmer, but kind of a funny thing. He's also made random spearmen here. I mean, he's just making it messy. And Ozone's villagers, they would very much like to have a TC there. And oh, God. Oh, man, a TC from Ozone. He's actually getting away with this. Guys, he's running really low on gold. He does not have a lot of gold income. He's got this available still, but... I mean, he's on the ropes right now. We'll see if Biry notices that. I think Biry could still pressure that. Biry's realizing now he needs upgrades. So he's getting armor, he's getting bloodlines, and remember he has the scorpions. So pikeman defense against the light cap feels good until those pikemen go directly into the light caps. Yeah, as far as Biry knows right now, he's got full control of both the golds. He does not know that Ozone is getting away with this gold. But man, oh man, has this been annoying. Like, the eco count is similar. I think we should commend Ozone for that, because that's pretty crazy. But it's still the control of the game, the resources. It's all Biry right now. Biry also building up towards a castle, which, based on what we can see, I think the castle should just simply go on the right-hand side, near the gold. But Ozone, he's been able to sneak over there. Biry doesn't know it. And, okay, 2 scorpions go down. There's only 1 scorpion remaining now. Pikes could be pretty strong now. Light cap's definitely not it. And Biry, a little worried at the moment. He's going to get redemption for the 1 monk he has there so he can convert siege. Is he going to be concerned? He's making outposts here. Is he possibly concerned that Ozone will take this and he might castle this side? Wow. 4 TC boom for Ozone. Still is stone, still is gold in here. Just not a lot of it.
Yes.
And actually, he has been able to outpost randomly over here. So he knows Biry is here, and Biry does not know that he is there. And Biry is concerned that he's going to lose this area, so he will castle here. There is a chance for Ozone here, guys. Like, if Biry castles here and feels like, okay, I'm controlling this area now, I'm fine. Ozone is going to shift his focus onto this side, and I don't know what army you're going to have on this side if you're Biry, because all your buildings are over here. I love the damage control from Ozone, just to make sure those light cap don't get in. But it's, again, macro time for both of them. This is a really close game. And I expect this series could easily go to 5 games with the way this game is shaping up because of the control from Biry, but I'm just concerned he doesn't have vision. Like, this is such a big no-no on the map. You got to have outposts. You got to have scouts. He's brought in more gold already here than he has remaining in his base. No, that's wrong. I'm sorry. But he's getting there. He brought in about 800 gold over here. And there's still about, quick math, like 1,400 gold remaining in his base. Also, 2 relics is really nice. And the KD, which was 9-0 at one point, is now 37 to 33. Biry's come back on water, though. And Biry still doesn't notice this, and there's the castle going up for Ozone. But he's simply shifting back over to this side. And I think he believes right now, I have the gold on the right. I have the gold on the left. I will be an imp faster. I win this game. He'll absolutely be an imp faster, though. And it seems to me like he's going to try and go archers here. Not sure if I love the idea of archers, only because of what I said earlier. The fact that the Roman armor can be deceivingly strong, and I think legionaries could actually push back archers before the archers are fully upgraded. If he can get all the upgrades, though, I like it. Does he know yet? This castle still doesn't shoot the vills. Oh, no, he knows. Okay. Like, I think I would try and go hand cannons. But the sucky thing about hand cannons is you can't make any units right now. So that's why he's probably making crossbow. No player likes to not be making a unit right now. And you can also do both. I think you can go archers into hand cannons after chemistry is completed. I take it back. I think this is completely fine. This is what's horrible, though. I don't even think he realized. I think something allowed him to see it, but I don't think he's realized this is the case. It's a double castle area over here from Ozone. And now Biry realizes. So Ozone will have 2 castles. Biry will have 1. Biry will be an imp, though, to make trebs. This castle here, I guess you could start to push and treb the main eco from Ozone. God, this map is so good. I really wish we would have brought it back for this season. And to clarify on what I mean, because I'm always confusing people with that statement, this is Silver. Technically Silver Season 2, right? We play it on Season 2's maps, and then it qualifies whoever, moves out of Silver directly into Gold, which starts directly after it. Which is Season 3, which is then a new map pool, which I'm excited for those maps too, don't get me wrong, but I just love Shoals. Shoals is so good. I think Shoals in a Dark Age start is like a big improvement on an already like amazing concept from it being in Empire Wars, because I think it was originally a Red Bull map. Okay, well, how does Ozone defend himself in this area? There's going to be Arbalest here. He only has pikes. And can he find an answer to the gold predicament on the right side? He's just hit him. I mean, I think he can. I think he can win the Trebor here. And his answer to the crossbowmen surrounding him here is actually just to drop a castle. That makes some sense, right? There is no trebuchet yet from Biry, but I'm sure Biry may see that and send a trebuchet in. Guys, Biry has horrible eco balance. I assume he doesn't have auto farm on. Wait, hold on a second. Did he have it on and then he turned it off? No, it must have just been a casting thing. I swear I saw that light up. Anyways, he doesn't have auto farm on. So he's floating tons of wood here, but he doesn't necessarily have the food to get certain upgrades. Could be an issue for him. Now, that could also be calculated because he might feel, all I need is wood and gold to win this game. I need Arbalest and I need Trebs. Wood, gold, wood, gold, wood, gold. But if it doesn't work out, as random crossbowmen are running past Ozone's TC right now, then obviously there might be some level of regret there. Okay, we have longsword upgrade coming in for Ozone. He's got full armor upgrades research. These crossbows are owning him right now. But it's double armor upgrade. And, the armor doesn't really affect the pikemen hugely. It really ends up affecting the step after longsword, which is going to be legionary. We've got a Treb here from Biry finally. Remember, he does have gold available here. He's still trying to make sure that he can control the gold tier, but also pushing the other side. So Ozone's defending and attacking, and Biry is defending and attacking. And you could argue the importance of both, right? I think it's arguably more important for Biry to defend here, but arguably more important for Ozone to defend because that's his main eco. Both are so important. Ozone really doesn't have a lot of army right now. Like, I mean, there's crossbows here. Still not ARPs. Arbalest would help out so much. I'm pretty sure Legionaries have, like, 8 armor as well or something, so you absolutely need to get Arbalest. It's crazy Trebor, but in this position, Ozone only has 2 Trebs. Biry's got 4. Biry's still applying pressure here, repairing his Treb. Biry's got a big lead right now. Actually, just holding this position, just holding, like this exact scenario, repairing castles, Trebs, whatever, for the next 3 minutes wins you the game. Because Ozone will have no gold, and he can't do anything without gold. He has 3 relics, but he's essentially going to have to sell wood and maybe even sell stone to make legionaries. Biry just can't lose these Trebs. If he keeps these Trebs alive, he's fine. He can even lose this Treb. All right, legionary upgrades on the way, guys. Eco KD is ridiculous. Biry's going to take us to a 5th game. Again, I would love to see ARB. Ozone selling all of his stone. The desperation play. Selling his stone in a Treb War situation. Okay, show me a legionary. Here we go. Okay, so it's actually 6 armor, so I was wrong. 12 attack. You got 75 HP. They're kind of slow. Ozone's going to give up on this side. And he's going for Halb as well, which, the problem with Romans is you don't get very good skirmishers. He's got to add in a unit that doesn't cost a lot of gold, so it's all right. So he's got good Pierce. He's not going for the Treb, though. Biry's adding another Treb. Biry's army can move forward on this side, and Biry's going to go for Cavalier now. What is this? What is this? Ozone, you freaking animal. He's making... First off, look at his vision. That same villager, I think, outposted all of this because she walked through here at some point. So anyways, Ozone's got lots of vision on the situation. Cavalier ends up being the choice for Biry. I don't like it. Go for Arbalest first. Max out on the units that you have. Ozone might get a little bit of gold from this. But, oh, man, there's no way, guys. Like, does he have the unit type to be able to stop this? Because he can't realistically push past the castle here right away. He is desperate, though, so he's got the Treb. And he's actually going to take Biry's Trebs. And he's actually sneaking around with these villagers. And then he's going to need units to deal with this. Biry probably thinks elephants are too expensive, and he wants something that's not ranged. Why get Hussar when you have full gold control? We'll just go for Cavalier. So I don't hate the Cavalier choice. That's a lot of legionaries, though. Ozone is used the market a lot here to get the gold. Biry, you see this, right? Like, this is a big deal. You cannot give your opponent that gold. Now, legionaries get even stronger after unique tech. Man, these things are tanky. And Biry's backing away. No thumb ring, by the way, for Biry's Arbalest. It's not available with Khmer is what I mean. It's not like he didn't research it. Okay. We've got Halbs, we've got Legionaries, we've got Trebs for Ozone, but there's gunpowder here, and Ozone's Trebuchets are in jeopardy. And he loses both of them. He's got 2 Trebs now. Biry is backed away just to stabilize, but this is going to be the killer blow. He just needs a couple production buildings, and then he can just go for the killer blow here. He needs one more hold. And if he holds against this, then it's game over. And honestly, like, yeah, more stone here, so you could just build castles here. Like, you don't even need army here. You have protection. 29 legionaries and a dream. Ozone has 60 on food, though. He keeps chugging, dude. You know who Ozone kind of reminds me of? I'm not sure if he's going to like this. Okay, villagers are finally going to die. That gold, though, kind of helps him make more Trebs. The gold he did get here. He kind of reminds me of Valeza with his economy. Like, a lot of bad things happen to Ozone in this game, and then we keep looking, and it's, whoa. When you look at his economic rate, and he could have easily died early castle. He's just so consistent with it, somehow. And he's so fast to the town centers. Now, Ozone doesn't remind me of MBL. Maybe Biry, because Biry's, like, got that chaotic energy. Biry's just like, all right, we won. Let's take our time here and not make any mistakes. the yellow outposts are so funny to me, though. I think Biry's paranoid there might be armies around. This is your last chance. If you're Ozone, he's going for a really big death ball of legionaries and with light cav. And he's going to try and aim to take this castle out. We got production buildings on this side. Biry figures, all right, we've got this. Let's just do the right side too. Double down, drop a castle there. Actually, he's getting chased over to his side with his hand cannons and his arbs. But I'm sure Biry's probably still thinking this is fine because I still have gold. But there's no stables over here except for that stable. Could end up losing his castle. The legionaries look so freaking strong, man. These things don't take any damage against arbs and gunpowder. And Ozone's got 30 units in queue. Ozone's going to take an engagement, which is pretty good against the arbs. He's going to take it against the hand cannons. I think Biry has noticed that this side is getting pushed, but now his castle's down. And there's still a lot more army in queue for Ozone, who probably can't believe he's getting away with still playing on in this game. This will result in some kills. Ultimately, not the biggest deal. Because, you know, there's still going to be gold control for Biry. The biggest deal for Biry is solidifying this area. Biry's got crazy resources. We saw him click Cavalier earlier. We see him getting Blast Furnace now. Like, he's definitely thinking, I need Cav. But if Ozone can take golds, he's kind of in the game. I think the issue for Biry was he didn't have the buildings where he wanted them. So now he's got to make the stables, and now he falls back to this castle. Guys, Ozone sees this. What? And then... Oh my god. I cannot believe this. This is horrible for Biry. Ozone is let loose. He's free. Jailbreak. He's going to kill all the units that come out of the ranges because he's got the army there. He's going to be on the golds, so he finally can take gold again. He's raiding like crazy. This castle gets denied and then deleted. These ranges get destroyed. The villagers here are all going down. Ozone's got a 20 or 30 population lead out of nowhere, and Biry's going to lose all of his hand cannons here. He's going to lose all of his villagers here. And he's going to be at 140 pop. And suddenly it's going to be one gold area versus one gold area. Only Ozone has the relics, and Ozone has the momentum. Oh my freaking god. I mean, could you mentally recover from what just happened? Could you play with any type of structure and just try and stabilize after everything that's transpired the last 2 minutes? I know I couldn't. I'd really be struggling. I mean, he's queuing Hussars, Arbs, Cav, whatever. He's bringing his Trebs over. But Ozone just out of freaking nowhere. And it was the amount of production buildings he had, and it was the amount of units that he had queued. And now, after realizing he has this area controlled, guys, castle does complete. He's going to lose some Trebs. Now that he's back on this area, I shouldn't say controlled, he's going to try and swing to the right. And we have ourselves a game, but like... this is worse for Biry. This is horrible for Biry. The worst part about this for Biry is the fact that he's actually forced to make only Cav against Legionaries right now, because Cav are actually pretty good against Legionaries. If you want to go into a melee engagement against Romans, you need to have another combination involved. Look at this, too. This is a big loop-de-loop, because Ozone knows the castles are there. I would just run right through to the golds. Oh, he's trying to loop down here. He still has all that vision from the outpost, too. Holy crap. 70 on food for Ozone. All over the stone and all over the gold for the first time in like 20 or 30 minutes. Biry is so far behind with military. And when he was ahead with military, he just kind of felt, I can't lose now. I guess he didn't have the production buildings. And your castle's not going to kill the Legionaries fast enough, so you're still going to lose villagers. The light cav is going to find the eco in the back. I feel really bad for Biry. I'm pumped for Ozone. This is a ridiculous comeback. But I also think it falls in a category of keep you up at night, make you want to cry for Biry, because this is just ridiculous, man. Ozone's at 200 pop. Ozone's now killed more eco than Biry has in this game. And he's killed all the trebuchets as well. What? How? How has this happened? It's ridiculous, man. No Centurions, guys. Sorry about that. No Centurions. No Centurions needed here. Just Legionaries, Light Cav, and Halbs. And just units everywhere all the time. Like, so many players would have resigned in the earlier stages of this game. Biry gives him the GG well played. I'm going to assume that is good luck in the final, friend. I assume that's what that translates to. Respect to Biry for that, but oh my god. That was a ridiculous comeback. It's, oh man. Like, it really felt like Biry could make 3 or 4 mistakes and still win the game, right? Because he had so much control. Ultimately, I think this castle, like, Biry didn't seem to have a really good idea of where Ozone was going to push. I don't think he thought that Ozone could push. Honestly, I think he just thought Ozone was dead. But maybe this castle was a mistake, right? Because he had production buildings over here. Maybe he needed it here. You know, Ozone lost 10 vills at the start of Castle Age. He just kept chugging, man. He didn't have gold. Well, actually, hold on. this aspect is obviously frustrating, right? Losing all that population, losing the game there. That's also incredible from Ozone. But I think what's fair to say is that Biry, if he would have had vision in this game, in this area, he would have won, right? I think Ozone being able to build up a base here at all was why he had a chance of coming back in this game. Not any of this, but it was the fact that he was able to get a TC up here whenever he did, right? Because this is something like, look at the eco now for Biry. He has production buildings on this side. He's pushing on this side. He could easily just pressure this. This is an area that needed to be stopped. If this is stopped, which is something that you have a light cab on patrol for, just one light cab, honestly, changes the whole game. This light cab patrolling here. You lose the light cab after you kill a villager or two, sure. But you know about it, and then we go to a 5th game. But instead, Ozone comes back from the dead, and Ozone wins 3-1. And Ozone's going to be up against Kazva. And I would say well played Biry. He's a really good player, but Ozone was my favorite. And I think Ozone Kazva is going to be a crazy series because Kazva was unprepared for some of the maps, at least from what I saw in his series against Monos. But he came back and he beat Monos 3-2. And also that series, I highly suggest you watch it. I honestly don't know if there were any English casts of it. I think OGN casted it in French. I think Pinch Terra casted it in Spanish. I could be wrong on that. But anyways, it was a ridiculous series. Kazva should have lost that series 3-0. Okay? He comes back, he wins 3-2. Anyways, the point is I think Kazva had a big slap in the face and a big wake-up moment in his series. And so he is going to be training a bit more and practicing a bit more on the maps because Ozone is going to have some strats prepared for him. So it should be awesome. Should be some great stuff. These kind of things is what separates silver, gold from platinum. What? Throwing this game? Nah, I think it's too extreme. I think that's too extreme. I think this example is too extreme. Some smaller details, yes, like the timing on economy and transitions and some vision here or there. Unfortunately for Biry, this is an extreme example of a throw, but still, like, I think you could make an argument, like, if you have the ability to come back, even if Biry gave you some potential opportunities, if you have the ability to come back in that type of a game, you know, maybe you are just a different caliber player, right? I think Ozone is a tier up on Biry, but Kazva is as well. So the next series between, or whenever that happens, which will, I think, be in a couple days, will be amazing. And then winner will end up being in gold. And you know what's crazy, though? So, obviously, this example applies to all the sets, right? But Ozone and Kazva step up on the players they have beaten. Whoever wins between Ozone and Kazva gets promoted to gold. And there's this celebratory moment. And then they're immediately favorites to get relegated. Right? Like whoever gets promoted out of silver in general is immediately going to be a favorite to get kicked out of gold because the players are so good in gold, right? It's just crazy when you have players who are also good, and then you could say stuff like that. But anyways, we're a long road ahead, obviously, to all that stuff. But I'm excited. This is my second to last cast of the 3rd round. The next cast is going to be Cello versus Nilly, which will be my final cast and coverage of the 3rd round. Nello Chili. Wow. Cello Nilly. Nello Chili. Cello Nilly. Okay. Cello Nilly, the score is actually going to start at 1-0 today. They started yesterday, and they had connection problems. They decided to move on, but I think Nilly's up 1-0 in that series. We'll finish that today. But for people later on YouTube, I just want you to know, I'm currently aiming to cast every single best of 5 decider. There's going to be 11 of them. So I talked it up a lot. Ozone Kazva, I will cast that. There's going to be a bunch more. So I will aim to have all those covered. And I'm pretty confident that will happen. So cool.